Welcome back to the Metro on WDET. I'm Robin Vincent. Democratic state lawmaker Donavan McKinney has represented District 11 for only a few years. But yesterday, he announced he's running for a new position. McKinney is running against Congress member Sri Thanadar in the 13th. McKinney is the second person to hop in the race alongside former state representative Adam Ollier. McKinney is 32 and he grew up in the district on Detroit's east side. His campaign is advocating for clean air, clean water, and creating economic security. Producer Sam Corey spoke with Representative McKinney on the heels of his announcement to run for Congress.
You're pretty young. I believe you're 32.
Yes, sir.
Tell me why did you get into politics?
Oh, man, that's a great question. So I started doing my first community service project when I was 6 years old. So I did a Walk for Hunger project, and I remember asking my mom on the way to school how the difference is down 8 Mile between, the suburbs north of 8 and the city of Detroit, south of 8. You can kind of see the difference between, the grass is greener north of 8. It was a little bit cleaner, and I saw a lot more homeless folks on 8 Mile heading to school. And I asked my mom, I said, Mom, we got to do something about it. What can we do? And she said, you know what? I'm going to challenge you. Ask your teacher. And so I remember asking, I think it was my first grade teacher or something like that. Like, I want to help homeless folks. I don't know how to help, but what to do. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to connect you with the church down the street from the school. And they do the food pantry program there. But we're going to do something innovative. But I need you to get your schoolmates, your classmates involved, get the parents involved. And so we decided to come up with the Walk for Hunger event, and we raised some dollars and some money based off how many miles we were walking. It was like a 2-mile walk with the class, and raised like a few $1,000s for that. And I just got the itch to just give back. And yeah.
You were 6 years old.
Yeah, I was 6.
That's pretty young.
Like, I was 6, man. And
we're talking about you being young in politics now, but
yeah,
that's a really young age.
So, I like to tell that story because it just helps shape who I am today. Like, I remember my grandmother, because I was raised by my mom, grandmother, and younger brother. We grew up poor. We moved over 13 times across the district.
What, 13 times?
Yes, 13 times, man. 13. Yeah, it was a lot, man. My mom, she worked multiple jobs, 2-3 jobs sometimes, just to try to, make the ends meet and help us survive and put food on the table for us.
Yeah.
But, because it was hard times and, in and out of jobs, we got evicted a lot.
Yeah.
And I remember that experience. I remember my mom and grandmother always telling me, even though we, had a crazy childhood, it was unstable to some degree, that love, like, it was no short of love and prayers and just family from my mom and grandmother. So I really appreciate it. And I'll say this. I remember when my grandmother told me, she told me 2 things. She said, son, number 1, count your blessings, because you wake up every single day. That's a blessing right there. You have a roof over your head. That's another blessing. 2 is, we're all crazy on a spectrum, but you can put 2 to 2 together and you can get your day going. But she also said this: no matter what you go through in life, there will always be people worse off than you. There will always be people better off than you. But she said, no matter what you go through, never fight the urge to give. Mm. Never fight the urge to give.
Is she your biggest inspiration in politics?
Yes. I was just with her yesterday. She was helping me with my 2 kiddos. I have a wife at home and 2 baby boys, 3 and 1. So she was helping me out as I was doing interviews, preparing for this launch of our congressional campaign. And she was crying to me. She was like, I never knew this would be what you would be doing. And forever grateful for her and my mom. Like, I would not be here without them.
I do want to draw out your story a little bit, Rep. McKinney, because you were talking about the hardships that you went through as a kid, the hardships that your family went through as a kid. You ended up going to the University of Michigan, graduated
Go blue,
from the Ford
go blue,
School.
baby. You too?
I also did Go Blue. How did you do it? Like, what kind of challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them?
So we overcame through love at the end of the day. I had my mom, and I talk about it, my mom and grandmother, every step of the way. We were poor, but if it didn't feel like it, right? Like we knew it was messed up. And it's like sometimes we would reflect and be like, man, how did we make it? How did we make it by? But it was community investing in us. I remember going to our neighborhood library. I remember going to after school programs and going to the community rec center. Those were the safe spaces for us to really thrive. Organized programming that helped us get through and navigate the streets. I remember 9th and 10th grade years going to high school at Renaissance, which is on the opposite side of the city from where I grew up at. It's on the northwest side. I grew up on the northeast. And it would literally take me 2.5 hours to get to school by bus.
Wow.
Yeah. But I remember my 9th, 10th grade years. In the span of 18 months, I lost 14 of my friends. They died all because of gun violence in our communities. So my mom chose, because I wanted to go to the neighborhood school with my friends in there. My mom was like, no, you're going to go to this college prep school. You're going to get an education, and you're going to go to college, and you're going to make something out yourself.
I want to get into some of the policies that you've supported while you've been in office. You've supported legislation including campaign finance reform, clean energy reforms, including community solar initiatives, and criminal justice reforms, particularly more transparency over the police. What are you most proud of accomplishing while being in office?
Ooh, so a lot of things, because I sit on I was the only Detroiter last term as well as this term to sit on the House Appropriations Committee. So I'm very proud as an appropriator to bring down hundreds of millions of dollars to the district. But I guess my crowning achievement on the policy front will be, I remember a constituent called us. He, I think, did 16 or 17 years in prison. He got out, but while he was in prison, as he was transitioning home, he was doing a trucking class and got his CDL certificate and everything. And he was coming home, went to the Secretary of State, and got flagged. And they told him, you can't get your CDL license. And he was like, why? And it was from a ticket from when he was, I believe, 17 years old. And he told me, he said, well, I'll pay the ticket now. And so he pays the ticket, and they said, you have to wait 3 years. So there was literally a law on the books in the Michigan Driver's Vehicle Code that said if you receive 2 or more moving violations, which you can receive in one traffic stop, and you never had a license before, you never had your initial license, once you pay those tickets off, get everything adjudicated through the courts, you have to wait 3 additional years in order to petition the state to receive a license. So he calls my office and he's like, Donavan, I just got out. I'm ready. I'm want to go to work. I passed the class, but this is holding me up. I need help, or I'm going to go back underground. I'm going back to the streets.
Yeah.
And so I looked at it, and I looked at the law. Me and my staff was looking at it, and 82 words in the Michigan Driver's Vehicle Code. All our law got rid of those 82 words.
He couldn't get a certified driver's license.
Couldn't get a certified driver's or the CDL. So, it passed bipartisan last term. It passed the House with I think close to 70 votes in the House. It passed the Senate 33-3. It was 2 members that was absent, I believe. It didn't get immediate effect, so it did not become official or at least effective until earlier this month, earlier in April. So now is the law of the land. And so we're doing a PSA campaign with the Secretary of State's office, letting folks know. And guess how many people are going to get impacted by this? I don't know if you know.
I would say maybe thousands, a couple thousand.
Millions.
No way.
Yeah. I saw a stat. It was about around 2 million people.
There are 10 million people in the state.
Yeah.
2 million people are going to be impacted by this law.
Yeah.
Essentially, what it's doing is if you pay off this fine, you don't have to wait another 3 years in order to get this license.
Yep.
You
If
can
you
just
never
immediately
receive a license.
You've only been in the seat that you're holding as representative of District 11 for a few years now.
Mm-hmm.
Why run for the 13th? Why run for Congress right now?
So we need to meet the moment. Our district needs a fighter. And so we are in a fascist regime right now with President Trump and Elon Musk and all the billionaires and millionaires who have so much corporate influence over our politics. And I'm hearing from my district, I got literally asked to do this by a lot of community members, a lot of stakeholders, from labor to our environmental organizations to organizations on the ground who are really doing the work, advocating on behalf of our constituents, and community activists and my elders that I have regular meetings with and who give me guidance on what to do. And they asked me to really consider running. One of the things that I'm currently representing, at least for my district, I have the poorest state house district in Michigan. Less than $20,000 is the median income of my current district. I'm running to represent a congressional district that's, I think some stats say, the second poorest congressional district in the country. And so I know what it's like for our constituents. Every time they call me and they're trying to figure out either choosing between putting food on the table or getting life-saving medication, right? Or they're trying to figure out how to pay for childcare. And that's something I'm struggling with 2 baby boys. For one, literally, I'm paying more for one kid in childcare than I am in my own mortgage.
Yeah.
That is a shame.
Yeah.
And with less than $20,000 a year, how do you survive on that?
Yeah.
I'm struggling as it is on a state legislative salary.
We're talking about a lot of things here. Of course, we're talking about the importance of money, of having resources.
Yeah.
And politics, obviously, money really matters. The pro-Israel group AIPAC has spent over $2 million on attack ads against Mary Waters when she ran last time against Shri Tanadar, of course, the Congress member who you're challenging. Waters had big supporters, including Mayor Mike Duggan. Are you concerned about the funding of AIPAC coming after you, or just having to outcompete someone who's able to raise and spend a lot of money?
So Shri is one of the biggest self-funders in Congress in the country. He takes corporate PAC money. Our campaign, we're not taking any corporate PAC money. So this campaign is powered by the people, is of the people, and for the people. At the end of the day, we are organizing not only labor, environmental folks, but individuals, not only in our district and not only in the state, but across the country, who are tired of corporate influence in politics and how it determines who wins and who doesn't between the haves and the have-nots. This is about the 99% of us struggling to make ends meet versus the top 1%, the ultra-wealthy I'm talking about. I tell folks all the time who are even playing the lotto, for instance, you can hit the lotto and still not be a part of the 1%. You can be a part of 100 millionaire, but you're still not going to be the top echelon, the top 1%. So those folks, a lot of people who literally just want to live day to day, a lot of them, they honestly just want enough money to pay the bills. They want some disposable income, maybe take their family on a trip here and there, and have a retirement to look forward to. And right now, our community does not have that. A lot of that is under attack. And for most folks, they don't even have anything to look forward to. That's why the struggles are real. And to refer it back, I'm not afraid of the money that's going to come into this race, whether it comes in or not. We don't necessarily have to raise as much as them, right? As much as Shri or the millionaires that are going to be funding his campaign. We just have to raise enough to compete. And so with the fighting chance that we're going, we're literally gathering up the biggest and baddest coalition in the country. And I'll tell you this, this is a movement that's bigger than me, that's bigger than a lot of what's going on in this district. This is going to be a nationwide movement about people, the 99% of us, the working class families, taking their power back. That's why I'm running.
This is the Metro on WDET Detroit Public Radio. I'm producer Sam Corey, and I'm speaking with State Rep Donavan McKinney, who is challenging Shri Tandadar for the 13th Congressional District seat, which covers a lot of Wayne County, including Detroit and Downriver. Rep McKinney, Shri has been popular. He has won a lot of voters over, I think in part because of his narrative, which is a rags to riches narrative. I think people look to him and they think, well, he became really rich, so if he represents me, I can too. What do you make of that narrative, and why? I guess why do you think it's popular? I think there's a strand in the American public that really believes that they can become millionaires too. I'm wondering where you think that comes from, and I guess what you're offering for people to climb the economic ladder.
So to your point, people believe in it. In this American dream, which can come true to some degree. But in reality, the system is so rigged, right? And so the cards that you are dealt with when you're born based off, because you can't choose your family, you can't choose your economic situation you're born into. You could try to work hard. And I know a lot of people who work their butts off, who went to school, but are still struggling because of the crushing student debt that's literally taking over their lives right now. They can't do anything else besides try to pay that debt off. And a lot of money is put into this to ensure that so many people make it and so many people don't. And so right now we have to look at who is going to fight on our behalf and who has the lived experience to do so. Born and raised in this district. I literally have lived it. What people are going through right now, and I'm still going through it as your state legislator.
In 2020, you ran against Shri for a seat in the state house.
Yes.
You lost that primary by about 2,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think you lost then?
I lost then, well, it was COVID. And I remember it was Friday, March 13th, 2020. How do I remember that? Because it was 313 day. That was the last weekday before Governor Whitmer had a shelter in place put in that following Monday. And also I remember because Bernie Sanders came for the presidential primary earlier that week, and I was there. And so that particular day, everything shuts down. At the end of March, we started what was called Community Give Back Saturdays. So every week on a Saturday, from the end of March through Christmas, even after I lost the primary, we organized the churches, and then we had a connection with Gleaners Food Bank and Forgotten Harvest. And at that time, their volunteer base were seniors, and they were afraid to come outside, rightfully so, because of COVID. I had an army of young volunteers. We organized food, hot meals, cold meals, toiletries, fresh produce, 24 packs of water, and masks and all these equipment, and we passed it out.
This was after you had lost the primary.
After I lost during the campaign, like I wasn't really campaigning, I was just meeting the moment.
But are you telling me that you weren't able to develop the kind of momentum that you think you're able to develop now because COVID hit? Is that fair?
100%.
Macomb and Detroit are often kind of pitted against each other. Depending on where you are, there are very big gaps in terms of income, in terms of wealth. Obviously, really big racial differences depending on where you are, which neighborhood. What are the things that link the two areas together? Because you represent that area now, and of course, you're vying to represent them in a bigger way. What are the biggest demands from your constituents in the district?
There might be some challenge or like some differences in income, but most folks want the same thing. We just maybe disagree on how to get there. People want safe neighborhoods, walkable communities. They want to make sure that their kids get educated. We have kids graduating high school, not only in this state, but in the country, who cannot read or write. That is criminal, man. That's criminal. That is something we need to address immediately. Also, the price of and the cost of living. For so much, like the wealth gap is getting more and more extreme, and things are getting more and more unattainable and unaffordable for families, whether they have a middle-class status or not. The middle class is evaporating before our eyes. That economic security and stability is really my top focus. But also what loops this district in, this district is on a waterway. Literally got downriver, got the Detroit River up in the points and all that. Environmental injustices. We have a lot of old communities that were built a long time ago that are still working on infrastructure from hundreds of years ago. I have power lines in operation right now that was built 130 years ago. No wonder why our power keeps going out, right? No wonder why we have some of the largest per capita rates in terms of asthma. There's areas in my district, by the time your child hit the age of 5, they have an 85% chance of developing asthma. I know I developed it at 7. My 3-year-old baby boy has been diagnosed with pre-asthma. My 1-year-old has tested higher levels of lead because of the lead pipes in our community. We still have wooden pipes underground right now in the city of Detroit. And so these are the things that connect all of us. Education, right? Environmental injustices that are going on. And I'm telling you, economic security and stability, everybody's trying to fight for it right now.
That was producer Sam Corey speaking with state lawmaker Donavan McKinney, who's running for Congress. Just a note, McKinney said the 13th district is the second poorest in the country. We couldn't confirm that, but it is among the poorest districts in the nation. Also, the commercial driver license law McKinney helped pass will likely impact about 1 million, not 2 million, Michiganders. Coming up, gun violence is a crisis in this country. Who are some of the people we've lost? This is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation.